And I thought what I'd show you is tonight I'm going to do an apple crumble. Now, what I've got is a bowl, and I've put in about half a cup of lemon juice, and the reason is because I'm going to be cutting up the apples and just dropping them in there. We don't want the apples to go brown. I've got some raisins, sultanas, whatever. I have some butter, I have some brown sugar, and I have some rolled oats, which I'm going to turn into flour. How? I'm just going to put it into my magic bullet, or you can put it in a blender, whatever you want, and just make flour out of it. Now, the reason I do that is it sort of makes me feel like it's a partially healthy meal. I mean, it's got fruit, and oatmeal. Think about that. Forget that we're going to put those two in. Those are the two that give it taste. And I will probably throw in... not too much more, actually. I'll see how I feel when I'm actually making it. As you know, I never really make all these decisions. Now, you probably ask me, what sort of apples have I got here? Well, in Canada, we've got an apple called a Gala, or Gala. I call it Gala, but I'm pretty certain in American you call it Gala, G-A-L-A. And I'm not sure if you have those in America, so, or even in England. So I believe in the US you have something called a honey crisp, which would be probably about the same. This is a crispy apple, but not as tart as a Granny Smith. It is sweeter, but it's still crispy, which is what I love. So I'm going to be using those, and I'm not going to be peeling them. I'm going to just chop them up with the peel on, because the good stuff, is always in the peel. So I'll just wash them off, and then we will chop them up and drop them in a bowl of water with some lemon in it. Now, I know that all of you know how to peel apples, but not everybody knows how to do it the easy way, or the easy for me way anyway. And I know that every time I do something like this, Yvonne will say to me, "Did you show them how you do that?" And I'm going, "No." And she goes, "Well, some people don't know." So here we go. I take an apple, turn it that way, and the first thing I do is I cut the core away. And then I throw the core away. And that's how long it takes me to cut an apple. I'm dropping them in the lemon water, and the reason is because we don't want the apple slices to go brown while we're cutting the other ones. Done. Okay, got it? So just 1, 2, 3, 4, leave the core. So simple. I cannot tell you how many years I did it the hard way before I found that way. And then you go, why didn't I ever know that? Well, duh. I got frustrated one day and I just tried it and it worked. Okay, so here we go. And I actually didn't find it online or anything. It is something that I worked out for myself, although I have subsequently seen it online. Maybe somebody watched me do it. And you're all going to tell me, no, my grandmother taught me how to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure they're all covered in the lemon juice. It's really important to me, because I don't want them to go brown. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to try and cook this in my halogen. I have never tried to cook apple crumble in my halogen, which is a good reason to try it, because it's an experiment, and you all know how much I love that. So the first thing we're going to do is to cook the apple. And we'll just add another bit of taste to it. I'm just going to put some raisins on top. Okay, I know what you're asking me, how much salt? 2 handfuls. So that's half a handful of, I'm making it up as I go along, guys. Half a handful of raisins for each apple today. Now, some of you might want to add some cinnamon to this. Really, it's about personal taste. So I'm going to put that in the halogen for about 15 minutes just to cook most of the apple. Alright everybody, I actually can't remember what I just said, and I'll see it in the edit. So I've put it on at 350 for 20 minutes. All I'm trying to do is to just basically partially cook the apple and the raisins. In the meantime, I'm going to make the topping. I'm going to do this in my magic bullet. I thought I'd show you what I'm doing. I'm going to do it in 4 roughly equal portions. I've got about a cup of oats, and by the way, this happens to be oats with raisins in it anyway, so it makes it even more raisins. I've done 1 spoon of, that is 1 I'd call that a dessert spoon. 1 spoon, heaped spoon of brown sugar, and then just about a slice of butter on top that I've broken up into pieces. I would say about 1/4 of a cup, if that, maybe an 8, around 1/4 of a cup of butter. And now I'm just going to blend that in my magic bullet. Well, I just want to tell you that I shortened the time of cooking the apple and raisins down to 10 minutes because I could tell, look at that, beautifully done. The raisins were popping right up, and they would look like the next thing they would do is probably start to burn, and we definitely don't want that. So, and I was quite right, the apple is done. So I'm now going to cover it with the topping. Yum. Anyway, while I think about it, I want you to see the topping here. If you're going to do it in a magic bullet or any sort of processor, don't overwork your machine, because you've got batter in there and it's going to glob up. That's the best word I can use. So literally I do about 5 seconds, shake it all about so that it's got a chance to redistribute, and then, you know, do another 5 seconds. And then even when I got it in the bowl, as you can see, I'm then just working that butter through. It's very difficult to do via a camera lens, I just want to tell you. So you're just basically trying to get it crumbly. So looking pretty good. So don't overwork your whatever you're going to use to process it. By the way, some of you may want to just quickly turn the oats into flour first. I just want to, so you can see, I haven't totally refined it. I've just sort of taken it down quite a bit from where it was, right? So it just doesn't look totally like, and you can see some bits are still left, which is fine. It'll make it, does exactly what I wanted. And you can still see some of the raisins in there as well. Okay, so now I'm going to put it on top. Now you obviously can do this in a regular oven. It just takes far longer. And that's, as those of you who watch my videos, as all of you know, the reason I love my halogen is because it just does things so much better, so much faster, and without drying things out. That's the incredible thing. Now, it turns out that I've got far too much mixture, and I don't mind that because I will just freeze what I've got left. Depends what size bowl you're using, obviously. 3 cups of oats, would have been enough. But I'd rather have too much. I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. And as I said, I will freeze this, and I will just one day think, oh, I could really do with some apple crumble. And I'll throw in an apple and take out some of that, and yum, instant. Okay, so here we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the extender ring on my halogen because I don't want it to cook the top too much. I just want it to partially cook it slowly. So I'm trying to really just get all of that to heat up and cook quietly. Quietly in a halogen is a little bit of a challenge, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah, you wouldn't see that in the professional video thing. Okay, so here we go. I've put it in at about 275, and I'm just guesstimating about 15 minutes on this. No, let me put it for 15. And I don't want it to totally cook it because I'm going to just partially cook it and then warm it up again just before I serve it. So I'm hoping that won't crisp it up too much, so I'll need to keep an eye on it because it is a halogen and that works really well really quickly. Oh, forgot to put the extender, hang on. Now the reason I wanted to put the extender on is to take the heat farther away from the top of the crumble. Don't want it burning too quickly. And if necessary, I can lift it and put some foil across. Still keep the heat, but protect the top. I think that should probably do it.